Paper, yeah. It's our time. One love. Um, so new video. And this is really about the future of I guess America, but also just like young people in general about, the cost of having kids, starting a family, all of that. And so we're going to talk about it a little bit. I really want to know you guys' opinions on this. Again, I don't think that I'm right or know everything about this. I kind of just am curious what you all think. So I saw this and thought it was interesting. And basically, there was a viral tweet where the person basically says, and on Twitter, a lot of these people end up being right wing grifters who are trying to prove a point, but sometimes it's hard to tell. And you see something and you want to have a talk about it. So this person says, I find it so strange when people say they can't afford kids. Your ancestors were able to afford kids for the last 300,000 years. Are we really less wealthy now? Question mark. You might think your parents were better off, but how about further back? They still went on. And that's the original tweet. The person is basically saying that let me see if I can go to this original tweet. The person is basically saying that you know back in the day it was our ancestors had less than us, and they were less wealthy, and they still had kids. And this got a lot. It got like 60 million views almost. Um, and there were a lot of opinions on this. I mean, a lot of opinions. For me, I think that yes, our ancestors were probably worse off and less wealthy and maybe had less access to information. But as far as quality of life, they might have had a higher quality of life then, or quality of social life. That's what I'll say. They might have had a higher quality of social life, meaning that there were certain social uh, situations set up where they're able to begin to start a family. For example, church. I know specifically my ancestors, parents, grandparents, all these folks went to church consistently. This isn't true for everyone, right? But I know it was a big thing in America for people to go to church. You go to church, you meet different people, you meet other families, you meet potential suitors. You also can then also meet their families at the same time, so what type of background they come from, all of that. Look, this is just. Am I saying that this is what everyone has to do? No. I'm just saying that back in the day, they had this, so it's a place where you can meet people. Now, what do you have? You have social media apps, and where folks are meeting folks on social media or on dating apps, which they have the word social in it, but it's not the same type of social situation where you can see someone in person. And I like online. I'm here online. I'm a big advocate for doing things online. So I'm not trying to make a point in saying that like we shouldn't be doing stuff online or the problem with everything is online. I'm just saying that oftentimes folks get confused and thinking that just because we have the internet or people have access to all these tools online that it makes stuff better, that it somehow makes stuff easier, which I just fully and wholeheartedly disagree with. Also, the prospects back then for what success was, or even being able to achieve middle class status, I feel like personally was more attainable then than it is currently today, especially post COVID. Post COVID, things have changed. I mean, one of the biggest things is student loan, the student loan debt, college degrees. My grandmother didn't go to college, but she was able to own multiple homes, right? Um, and all different types of assets and things of that nature. So, but now I feel like our people have been pushed into college, so then they're already saddled with that debt. And it's like, oh, you should be able to get all of these things like homes and all these things, but it's a lot more difficult for people getting started up. So my point with all this is saying, I would put this person to task if people are actually doing better today. Are people doing better? Now, I have this one tweet up, so I might as well address it, which it says, the discourse about how much it costs to have kids is almost entirely about how much it costs to get a woman. Nobody wants to admit this for some reason. Now, before y'all tear me up in the comments, I will again say I don't know who this poster is. They might have negative views, so I'm not gonna double down on this poster. I didn't look into that. I also say that the wording, I know that the wording alone bothers people, would probably bother some people. This tweet doesn't have many replies, so it doesn't say anything in replies, but I know folks won't like the wording of how much it costs to get a woman, which, that can make it sound like a woman is a object, or, something that you can buy, which we all know isn't true or right. But what I think this person was trying to say was how much one needs to earn or have the potential to be able to clearly earn to, to basically have a woman that wants to spend the rest of their life with you. Which, in a tweet, it's harder to make that punchy, but I think that there's some truth to that. That's saying, okay, first off, I'll say this: I don't have kids or a woman. Ah, paper. Yeah, look, I don't have kids or a woman, so I'm clearly an expert on neither of these things. But because I don't have either of those things, I think it makes it okay for me to talk about this, right? From that perspective. But yeah, your boy doesn't have kids or a woman. And I think that what it brings up is this: it brings up a lot of things. First off, women don't need men anymore. There was a point where, back when you talk about ancestors, they actually needed men. Society was set up that way. You know, it was also a lot more taboo to do things on your own without a man. There was also more danger involved. It was just a more dangerous life. Uh, things were less tracked, so you could go missing, and that would just be it. Now, I think that women can earn more than men when it comes to money. They can definitely earn more than men. And obviously, just as much, a lot are. And then a lot of those things that men used to do that only a man in your life could do, now that there's products and services easy and readily available. See, before, even in my mom and dad's time, for a while, you had to look stuff up in the phone book. So if you wanted a service done, whether it be somebody to help you with your plumbing, or some type of security system, or somebody to paint something, you actually had to go in the phone book, flip, call, and schedule it that way over the phone. They had to come out and all of this stuff. You couldn't see the reviews or anything. Now you can do all this stuff over the phone, over an app. You might be able to video chat with the person before. Still can call them. You can search. You search one, you find 10 at the same time in Google instantly in a few seconds. So it's a lot easier to do a lot of these things that before you actually needed a man for. So saying that to say, there's even more that you need now for the average guy. There's that much more you need to be able to attract a woman because they're not like even for the money stuff. Like yeah, obviously everybody wants to have money and success and be in a partnership that can produce that, right? But it's a trade-off. Being with someone, even if they have money, is a trade-off. If now you have to listen to them, be around them, be associated with them. So for a lot of women, it's not even worth the trade-off of the having to deal with that person. So that's even more that you have to earn to make it worth it, right? And obviously, for a relationship, all you need is one person. You don't need to attract every woman, every man. You just need to find that one person that works for you. But I think the fact is that it's become harder because we've removed all of the social settings where folks can meet people. And then on top of that, it's become taboo to basically talk to people in person. You're afraid of catcalling or harassment or all of these different types of things. This is like real conversations. So, yeah, so the next thing in this tweet, he says, you can't have kids without a woman. It's a basic component of the process. Getting a woman is the step that most men are stuck on right now. And women are attracted to status. So, under female actual liberation, it's difficult to have kids if you're not high status. Um, when people say, "How can you afford kids if you don't make X a year?" they're implicitly citing the income that they think will make them attractive to women. Um, it's not based on the cost of any particular goods. The numbers are absurd because so is the dating market. The cost of child, where I will push back on this, the cost of childcare is really expensive. Like when I look up childcare, that is expensive. That is a cost. It's basically like rent, um, and more than the average rent if you have multiple kids. So that's where this person's argument kind of falls apart. Is that there are specific costs of raising a kid that are expensive. Um, and that particular good or service is childcare. That's one of them. People are like, "Oh, it costs a lot to feed them." I don't think feeding the kids seems that expensive to me. It seems time consuming. Having to make sure another person gets 3 meals a day, that seems time consuming. There's already a lot of work for yourself. The expensive, I don't know if I would call it expensive. Now, childcare, that seems expensive. Childcare seems expensive. Healthcare for kids, that seems expensive. Um, so, so I don't know. Um, I don't know. I definitely think that it is. I definitely think that it is harder now to for people to find partnerships, not just a man to find a woman to find a man, for people to find partnerships, and that's evident in how much less people are getting married and how much less people are having kids. If it was easier and more beneficial, I really do think more people would be doing it. I think more people would be doing it, but now we live in a society that kind of strips all that apart. They want to make it so you don't. First, it was you don't have a big nuclear family, right? If you don't have a big nuclear and then extended family, well, then everybody needs their own house. Grandma needs a special caretaker. All of these things. The kids need childcare. So then you can extract so much more wealth from people by splitting them up. Now, if you're single and you don't have a significant other, you're not married, now, okay, you need your own house, you need your own car, you need your own food and all of these things. Whereas If you were in a relationship, all right, we assume you live in one house. Maybe you guys could share a car. Um, all of these things. So basically, the idea is they're able to extract more wealth by keeping us further separated and finding ways to keep us for us not to come together. You know, because it makes sense from a woman's perspective. I mean, you got to figure out someone who can be able to support you and support themselves as well, right? You have to choose well from that aspect. That's an important aspect. So, um, yeah, and now there's more opportunities to see. Before you maybe only saw the king and the queen that was rich, right? And you're like, oh, that's the king and the queen. Even celebrities, like, they didn't show wealth off like that back in the day. There were some things, but there wasn't so many details that you could see. Now there's just so many details. There's international travel. There's the accessories. There's the hair and the makeup, and it's a lot. If you really try to like do that, live that life, it's a lot. It can be a lot. Um, so yeah, and on the flip side, for men, they see a lot of the beauty and you know, certain type of models of women and want all women to fit into that category. And so now they're all trying to fit into that, and it's separating us more and more. So we need to find things that help to bring us together. Um, I don't see this getting better anytime soon because of how expensive everything is. I don't see this getting any better anytime soon. But I'm gonna figure out what to title this video. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, like and subscribe. We'll talk about more stuff soon. Ha, paper, yeah, it's our time.